You were listening to Charting Crypto for August the 31st, 2022, last day of August. Let's see where things are. Excuse me. The minute I start the show, I start coughing. Let's first check out, as we like to do, where things are on our biggest chart. And again, this is the price percent oscillator, the derivative oscillator. These are the original charts we started using at Charting Wealth. Well, you know, the original was the MACD. We switched over to the PPO. But I love doing this for particularly when we delve into where cryptocurrencies are, because we've seen so much down movement in attempts to recover. And I think we're going to see it happen first and foremost on these bigger charts. And I like how accurate in the past the PPO has been in helping us sort of see how these changes foment and when they occur and when things die. And that's what I wanted to show to you today. Remember when we had that weekly vertical crossover trying to happen there in August? What is that? The week ending the 12th of August. Things had been moving up going into the fourth week and then started rolling over. And now look at it. We are just laminated. We're not pulling away from the red signal line. We are just laying on it. In fact, it looks like, yeah, we are just 2/100ths of a point separating the signal line from the blue price percent oscillator. So we see where we'd had that 4 weeks of up movement and now going into 3 weeks of down movement. We're going to stay there laminated or pull away. Derivative oscillators nonetheless still green, but it is losing momentum. So we'll wait, watch, and see. I also went ahead and painted on here with this 2-day crossover going down. Price percent oscillator slowly pulling away from the red signal line. Of course, this move started back on the 18th of July, where we had that 2-day crossover going up. Went up for 4 days, down for 4 days, and then went on a spiral heading up, and then started cranking over, going down back on the 17th of August, and of course has just continued to move down with that 2-day crossover going down. So we'll keep an eye on things, see where they are heading. For the day today, of course, Bitcoin up a little bit after a few days of down movement. So what are we waiting for? We're waiting for a signal if Bitcoin is going to hold on, maybe bottom out again somewhere around where it did before a few weeks back, and then find a base and then start building on that and move back up. Sort of what we were hoping might be happening here. Didn't happen. So we'll wait, watch, and see. Of course, we look at Grayscale Bitcoin, same kind of thing. Now, Ethereum, a little different. Ethereum on this weekly chart, let's make sure we're on the weekly there. And I have no reason why my Ethereum, that is not making any sense at all. Why the 2-day is set at one spot and the weekly at another. Are these just... Oh, I see what happened. The 2-day and the weekly are absolutely backwards. So we're going to have to recast this. I'll fix this in the interim. But this was the 2-day crossover followed by the weekly crossover going up. Remember, our weeklies are always gold because that's where the real money is. But we've just got these reversed. I don't know how that happened or when, but I will fix that before the next show. Anyway, let's go with that. We saw where we had that weekly vertical crossover going up. And then, of course, over the last 2 weeks, it has been dying on the vine. That 2-day had led the way all the way back in July, at the beginning of July, kept building and then fell off. What are we really waiting for? Again, just to see if we're going to retest these lows that things hung out at for a while and then start moving back up. But again, Bitcoin, of course, as we say over and over again, is the big mover. It's the tide that comes in and floats all the boats or sinks them down into the pluff mud. we'll wait and see how this continues to shape up. Let's move on to something like XBTF. Again, as we look at things, this is the short-term Bitcoin future. There's three of them: BITO, BTF, and XBTF. The reason I track and trade the Van Eck Bitcoin strategy is because it has the least amount of costs associated with it. It's still expensive as far as those costs go, but I don't stay in very long, or at least to date I've not stayed in long. What do we see going? And you can practice trade this again if you at some point want to do some fractional trades. What we mean is very low dollar amounts, maybe a share or maybe 5, which would keep you under $100 right now. Easy to track. Again, how much you are making or losing, and it's just a small amount of money. So before you ever, if you do convince yourself that you're a master paper trader, before you ever start spending any real money, jump into the market with maybe $100. See how you trade that. And then, of course, that's going to tell you when you're doing real money trades, you can't cheat what you're gaining or losing when you have a real account in the real marketplace. So let's look at what XBTF is doing. Same kind of thing. You can see where we're laminated blue over red when it comes to the STC derivative oscillator. Still positive, but again, getting down toward that prior low back in at the beginning of July. Now here's an interesting one, and again, thanks go out to the Patreon supporter that turned me onto this. It just hit the marketplace back in June. This is a short Bitcoin strategy fund. It actually goes up when Bitcoin goes down, and it's not thousands of dollars. So something fun you might want to trade. I would encourage you that if you're going to trade it, since it is such a new product, you don't have much when it comes to being able to go back in time and expect, see, you don't even have anything setting up on the PPO. So what you would do is, of course, look to something like XBTF to give you some ideas as to when opportunities present themselves, particularly on the half-day chart, but again, using all the charts all the time. Use that to help you find potential opportunities to practice trade in the inverse. We love that. BITI. Keep that in mind. Put that on your charts. What's going on overall when we look at the crypto market? This is the crypto index fund. It represents, it's Bitwise 10 crypto index fund. BITW, it represents what? All top 10 cryptocurrencies, and it's weighted by market share, which is pretty cool. It is still trying to hang on in the positive since it crossed over going up back on the 12th of August, the week ending then. And of course, the next week devolving a little bit over these last 2 weeks, heading down. So I like to keep my eye on that just so I know where things overall are going. And then, of course, we look at the rest of the crypto world. We can go to other charts like this blockchain Bitcoin strategy. You can see, again, isn't it interesting how these things mimic so much what's going on with Bitcoin? Why is that? Because Bitcoin is the big kahuna. It's the market leader. When Bitcoin is doing well, everybody's doing well. When Bitcoin gets a cold, everybody else gets pneumonia. So we'll continue to keep our eye on Bitcoin, see where it is going, when it starts to strengthen. And I just want to encourage you, if you like shorting things and want to play around, do some practice trades on BITI. Let's see how it works. It's new. It's a new product. It's pretty cool, and I'm excited about it. That's where we are, folks. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters, Patreon members particular. Thank you so much for your support. God bless.